So I'm going to show you how to make a negative using gloss gel. So you can see this is pretty translucent. I'm sliding it around everything so you can see that it is translucent. And the nice thing about the gloss gel is it's kind of stretchy, your negative, and it can be folded and wrapped around pieces. The first step would be to take the image that you want to use and convert it into a negative, and then you print it out. If you have a laser printer, it's probably going to work just fine as is, but inkjet printers do not work. And I have an inkjet printer at home, so what I had to do was take my printed out image and make photocopies of it on a machine that uses a powdered toner. So the powdered toner bonds to the gloss gel. So gel medium is basically binder without pigment, and binder is the thing in paint that makes it adhere to the surface. So when I make copies, I generally make a couple sizes because I'm not sure what I'm going to need. And then the easy thing is just to start painting. So I have a pretty crappy brush because if you don't clean them, the gloss gel really ruins the brushes. And I do between 3 and 5 coats. So I just plop it on, got my first coat here. And what I've started doing, because I have these horrible cheap brushes at school, is taking a nice brush like this, and then after my first coat, I just like lightly whisk it. I don't overwork it, that's it. So that's coat 1. I would set these aside and let them dry, and in a half hour, I would do a second coat. It usually takes about a half hour for them to dry depending on the humidity. And I've made them and had them work with 3 coats of gloss gel, but I try to get 5 because I'm not a gentle person. I'm very rough, and if you don't handle your negatives carefully, they can rip. This one was just 3 coats. All right, so I'm going to put these aside. So I have an image here that already has 5 coats on it, and I'm going to show you what to do next. So if you look online, it says you need a tray with water. Yeah, I just take a little sponge and I wet the back. So what I want to do is soften the paper and remove it, so all I'll have is the image and gel. So I like to do this on a flat surface, and I just roll away the paper. You can see that I have some newsprint down. I don't want to dump this down the sink, which is another reason I don't like to do it in a tray, because then I have like this pulpy water to get rid of. And I'm just patiently rolling the paper away. Pretty boring to watch. I usually do 3 or 4 negatives at a time because sometimes I think I've gotten all the paper and then it dries and I have to come back and do a little more. So when I work in batches, I don't get impatient. I'm not too rough and I won't rip my negative. So it's starting to be see-through, and it looks like it's translucent. I'll hold it over something so you can see that it's starting to be translucent, but there is still paper fibers sticking to it. So when it dries, I'm going to grab a different one. This is one I worked on already. I actually used this for an exposure already. You can see that the paper fibers are opaque again, and so I could take a little more off on this just by wetting it and rubbing. So one thing I would say is I cut this really close, and I prefer to have a little bit of a border around my image so I can tape it to the surface, or it just gives me a little play or wiggle room. But that's basically it. Just remove the pulp, and you have this nice, stretchy, flexible negative that can be used for cyanotype or any photo process. And the the flexibility of the gel medium allows you to stretch your negative and distort it if you want to, and it allows you to fit it more easily around curved forms. And that's it.